It's really very terrible when you see an American president just, cuddle up and just acts like a little boy in front of a Russian president. Hey folks, John here. Thank you for tuning in and welcome back. Now I know there's been a couple of days you've not heard from me or you've not seen me drop any videos, any news reports and everything. Folks, I came down with the bad situation of sciatic nerve. Yes, and it's costing me a whole lot of pain, but we gotta keep building this channel, and my dedication is to build this all the way. How you guys doing, folks? I hope you guys are doing good. We're going to talk about the Alaska meeting of President Vladimir Putin and Donald J. Trump. We are going to talk about that, but before we do, please do not forget, help the platform keep growing. I see you guys coming through. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and turn on your notification so that whenever I do drop something, you'll be the first to get notified. Now, folks, I want us to talk about the meeting between Donald J. Trump and Vladimir Putin, and to think that this man is actually wanted and he can fly to America, which we all know that it wasn't easy because he had to, be creative with the whole trip coming to Alaska. But yes, they did meet, and if you ask me, well, what was the purpose of meeting with Vladimir Putin? It was actually an attempt by the Trump administration to actually put an end to the Ukraine-Russian war, which, folks, I would like to say this. It's really embarrassing to think that all of the hype, all of the noise, all of the I can do this, I can do that, it just went to waste, because you remember that this man said when he was campaigning to come into the office for the second term, he said, I would end that war even before coming to the White House.
If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours.
Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the disastrous war between Russia and Ukraine settled.
This is August, ladies and gentlemen, the 8th month of his first term, first year in the second term. And we unfortunately see that the war is still ongoing, regardless of whatever his stooges in the White House trying to make, and the supporters. Now, I had to pause for I took a couple of days to actually start dropping this because I wanted to fully understand where Trump in his own mind stood. And given that he has a very dumb base, yes, if you are a Trump follower, unfortunately, you are in a cult. You cannot think beyond your own, ignorant self, which is all good. But let's agree to disagree. They are still human beings. Someday they will wake up. So his base have been parading this whole thing like, oh, this man did his thing, he came strong, and so on and so forth. And remember that when they were when President Putin came out of his plane and Trump met him, and the B-2 bombers came, they flew right across them, and I think Trump was explaining something to Putin like, hey, no, chill out. It seems like that's what he's saying. I'm just paraphrasing. Chill out is just, blah, blah, blah. A show of strength. But we all know who came out of that meeting looking like a little boy. Folks, I want to say this. Right after that meeting with Vladimir Putin, Trump decided to go on his favorite TV network, yes, Fox, and he had a sit down with Sean Hannity, and it is that issue I want us to talk about, because this man just keeps, I don't honestly know what to tell you folks, but I will say this. Donald Trump has made America a laughing stock. Now, with this man in office, America is really not the America you and I grew up knowing, because it is clear and it is obvious, or it was obvious, to see who came out of that meeting stronger. Now, this man, in an attempt to back up his weakness in front of Putin in Alaska, it's funny that this man goes on and tries to make himself look good when we all saw exactly what happened, and I will be breaking down in subsequent videos. Folks, the thing that Donald J. Trump said, I don't know. I honestly don't know. It just feels like we've lost it. You know, America has lost that first position under this guy. And to be very honest, I will tell you, it seems as if Donald J. Trump has been super compromised. By who? By Russia. And I don't want to talk too much. Listen to what this man said.
Vladimir Putin said something, one of the most interesting things. He said your election was rigged because you have mail-in voting. He said mail-in voting, every election. He said no country has mail-in voting. It's impossible to have mail-in voting and have honest elections. And he said that to me. It was very interesting because we talked about 2020. He said, you won that election by so much. And that's how he got it. He said, and if you would have won, we wouldn't have had a war. You'd have all these millions of people alive now instead of dead. And he said, and you lost it because of mail-in voting. It was a rigged election, but mail-in voting, Sean.
On Putin.
Well, folks, the fact that an American president can say without shame, like in a disgraceful way, that Russia thought that he won the 2020 and Russia thinks that mail-in ballot is no use. Newsflash, folks. A while ago, Vladimir Putin actually signed into bill. Russia uses mail-in voting. So for this man to try to act like Russia is saying that, or Putin is saying that you want this, you want that, that is the nonsense that this man has been parading all over, like telling his base, I won, so on and so forth. I can't imagine that we are in 2025 and this man is still venting over a loss that he had a couple of years ago. I don't know if he's trying to, like, he thinks that the more he repeats this to his base, the more the base get sucked up to this whole cult-like nature. And let me say this, folks, let us not forget that this man is only using this because he is doing everything to try to move the American people away from the Epstein file cover-up, which we all know that Donald J. Trump is all over that file. We know it. If he wants to argue, show us the file. Release everything, let everybody see. Some people are smarter than Mr. Trump. Like, we all know that he is a retard. He's slow. Some people are way smarter. Americans are not dumb or foolish. Release those files. And let me come back to what he tried to say. This man, the fact that he thinks that Vladimir Putin's word about how the internal voting systems in America function means anything, that is the dumbest, that is the slowest, that is the most stupid thing that any person who has occupied the White House can ever say. And folks, newsflash, only Donald Trump has ever said this about Putin. Now, I will end this vlog by asking you, do you think that Trump is in his right mind saying all the rabbit ass thing that he said? Do you think that this man is normal? And do you agree with majority of Americans that this whole plot to try to distract the American people away from the Epstein file is actually not going well for Donald Trump, because no matter what this man does, he just looks weaker and weaker and weaker. The world is complicated. We will keep talking about it. Stay blessed, folks.